Hey, here's how FL Studio works. So this first video is just a broad overview to give a roadmap for how the workflow works so that when you find yourself in the middle of a project, you're not super overwhelmed because you don't know where you started or how you got here or where you're going. So I categorized, categorized, I categorized 5 steps arbitrarily to remember the workflow of FL Studio. The idea is, and I will list them out to you right now, you will, and I'll also go into more detail in a moment, start your project, number 1. Number 2, make some sounds. Number 3, arrange the notes from those sounds into patterns. Number 4, arrange those patterns into an arrangement in a playlist. Number 5, miscellaneous, which means there's actually more stuff, which means I'm a liar. What are you going to do about it? Stop watching my video? Good luck, Jason. So, if you are starting a project, it's about as straightforward as it sounds. You want to open something, and if you're using the trial version, Jason, you will be opening a template since you cannot open a previously open or previously made project. That's the whole limitation of the trial version. You can open an advanced project, and that's not recommended because they're crazy for a beginner. So I would recommend opening a minimal, empty template. New from template, minimal, empty, which gives you either a blank screen or a screen with a bunch of windows. No matter what it shows you in the beginning, at some point you need to navigate to having these 4 windows open from these 4 buttons immediately to the right of the word pattern. You're going to want to open the playlist, the piano roll, the channel rack, which is probably hiding behind something. I'm sure it's hiding behind something. And the mixer. There's the channel rack. I intentionally threw them in crazy places so that you could watch me arrange them, because I know for some reason it's like instinctive to like just keep the windows where they are and then just lose them, which sucks. So I like to organize them like this, more or less, because this represents to me where the sound is moving. And to give you another broad overview of the way this works, to give you the signal flow for the sounds, you have sound generators in your channel rack. You arrange notes from those sound generators into the piano roll. You arrange patterns that you make from the piano roll notes into the playlist. And then you have a song. The mixer has a function too, but we'll talk about it later. Step number 1. Well, step number 1 was opening the project. So step number 2, making sounds. If you want, let's say, a piano sound, you can open the plugin picker. You don't have to really know how to do that exactly, but for the record, the pro move is to middle mouse click on the gray background. You find something that you want, maybe by typing it in, left click drag into the channel rack. So now you have a sound generator in the channel rack. If you just want to make noise with it, you can do that either by using your MIDI controller if you have one, or by using your typing keyboard if you have the typing keyboard to piano keyboard button enabled, or you can open its piano roll and manually arrange a series of MIDI notes. And these little shapes represent where you want a note to start, where you want a note to stop, how loud you want it to be, aka velocity, and what pitch you want it to have. So you could make a little pattern that sounds like this. Assuming you have your pattern option selected, so it's listening to the pattern instead of your whole song. That sounds great. You can also record using the record button. If you haven't disabled it because you're using the trial version, maybe, it'll probably prompt you with a little thing that's like, hey, what kind of thing do you want to record today? And it'll give you like 5 options that are confusing to you. Just select notes and automation, because chances are you just want to record your notes. And then you'll do something like, let's see, I'll put the metronome on so it hears. Great. I'll shove that stuff against the wall so that it sounds good. I'll listen to it. Amazing. I now have a pattern. I'll name that pattern. Well, I'll name that pattern. I'll give it a cool little color. Piano intro. Now, if I wanted to, I could put that pattern into here. But as of this point, it wouldn't really make sense to do it. Because if I only have one pattern, I might as well just play the pattern. The usefulness of the playlist and arranging patterns comes when you have multiple patterns. So if you have, for instance, in addition to your piano intro, your bass that you want to come in, it'll have a fun color too. It'll be purple. It's regal. You'll add a bass generator plugin into your channel rack, for instance, Boo Bass. You will make sure that you are selecting the pattern that you want to have notes in. Make sure that your piano roll is representing the generator that you want. It's not right now, but if I right click on that and select piano roll, it will be. Now it's a piano roll for the Boo Bass. And I'll record into this as well. Or you know what, I'll just generate MIDI notes. Yeah, this part's fun. We'll do it like this. Yeah, this is the classic one. Oh yeah, everyone loves this one. That's classic. Now that I have sounds in my different patterns, I can paint those patterns in, especially if I have the paint tool selected, left click and drag. I can arrange them in some cool little order. Maybe I want the piano to start without the bass for a little while. And then here I want them to not be playing at all, because I'm just a little agent of chaos. When I play the song, again, paying attention to whether I'm playing just the pattern or the whole song, the collection of patterns in the playlist, I play it through. Yeah, that's abstract. And I have made a successful template for a song. I just keep on making sound generators, keep making notes for them, establishing a bunch of patterns, which I arrange into an arrangement of patterns in a playlist, and then I have a song, and that's great. And that's really all you need to know. That was steps 1 through 4. I've started my project. I made sounds in the channel rack. I arranged those notes into patterns, and then I arranged those patterns into an arrangement in the playlist. The miscellaneous part is just a few little useful things that are somewhat essential. It's super nice to know that there's a hint panel up here. So if you hover over something that's confusing, most of the time it gives you a hint as to what that thing is doing that's weird. If you like move a slider or something, it'll tell you that it's 64% to the left, whereas it didn't tell you initially. If you hover over a note, it'll tell you what the start and stop times are for it, what the note is exactly. It'll tell you a million super useful things. So just keep an eye up there if you're ever feeling weird. It's nice to know how to change tempo. So if you didn't like the speed this song was playing at, you want it to be super slow and dramatic. Oh, that's too sad. So you want it to be hyper and exciting. That's not good for my heart. You can do that. It's also useful to know that you can like tap out a beat that you just know you want offhand. Great. So you have tempo and you have your hint panel. It's nice to know a little bit about the mixer. The mixer does a million things that are super amazing and useful. And they all come from its ability to route the sounds that you made through different channels, through different inserts, which all ultimately end up by this series of green strings to the master track, which ultimately leads to your headphones or the sound file that you export. That's not intuitively useful, but a nice thing about it is that through the mixer, you can add effects to individual sounds. So if I've sent FL keys to channel 1 and Boo Bass to channel 2, and I added an effect I wanted to channel 1 to the keys, and I wanted it to sound like super reverby. I want the Phantom of the Opera kind of sound. I want just drowning in reverb. This is bouncing off the walls. I'm shouting to a cave. So I'll open the reverb. I'll select the preset that I think is the craziest, and I will play it again. Oh no. I think I put them in the wrong order. Yeah, I put reverb on the bass. So don't make my mistake. Or I put reverb on both? When did I do that? Whatever. There's a lot of reverb going on. I'll turn the reverb off in the bass that I accidentally put there at some point. I'll make it so this is drowning in reverb. Yeah, that lingers. That's great. And I will definitely make more videos about a lot of things, especially what the effects do, since effects are like the highest ratio of satisfying to overwhelming. And and probably videos on shortcuts in the piano roll, since the piano roll is actually, you may or may not believe it, but like the thing that people use to defend FL when it's going up head to head against other audio workstations like Ableton and stuff. People are like, no, the piano roll is super great. And the reasons for that are not super intuitive, but I'll make a video about it. I will also include in the description, I'm in the video so I can just point down, the description's down below me, a series of links to resources that I like, or maybe I haven't really decided what's going to be in the list yet, so maybe it'll just be like an ASCII picture of a cat, but probably links to resources that I use or inspirations that I have for stuff like this. Check it out. It's a surprise to me too. No one really knows. And I hope that you like the video. Make sure you don't like or comment or subscribe. I don't appreciate you. You're meaningless to me, and I don't care. Goodbye.